There's something about a cigar in hand. The slow draw, the ash, the swirl of smoke. For decades, cigars have been more than just a ritual. They've been a statement, a symbol of success, luxury, power. But in 2025, things are shifting. The old guard of status cigars is meeting a new generation, one that values story, sustainability, and flavor above prestige brands and price tags.
This podcast is a Buenos Dias Media production.
Welcome to the Cigar Cypher, the podcast where the rich aroma of tobacco meets the spark of conversation. Let us guide you through the captivating world of cigars. Whether you're a seasoned aficionado or just curious about your first puff, this is your invitation to join the Cypher.
Make way for the new kings of cigar mania, the Cigar Cypher.
Welcome to the Cigar Cypher, where we unpack the culture, the code of smoke, and dig into what cigars mean, not just what they cost. Today we have an interesting topic. To be honest, it's one that kept me away from indulging in cigars until I really began to understand the culture. Why cigars are a status symbol and why that's changing. So pour yourself a drink, my brothers and sisters. Pick your stick, sit back and relax, and let's get into it.
The views and opinions expressed by the host, guest, and/or participants of this show do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Buenos Dias Media LLC, its associates, partners, and show sponsors. The content is intended for entertainment purposes and should not be construed as professional advice. Listener discretion is advised.
Before we move on, remember to like, share, and comment. Give us a 5-star review if you're listening to us on podcast platform. We're available on YouTube and Rumble, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Cigar Cypher. You can also go to thecigarcypher.com where you can enjoy our blog posts, articles, catch our podcast episodes, and submit your participation for the podcast. So go check us out at thecigarcypher.com. All right, my brothers and sisters of the leaf, let's start this off the right way. It's time for our cigar highlight, brought to you by thegentleman'storch.com. And this one is all flavor, all elegance, and absolutely lounge approved. We're talking about La Roma de Cuba Edición Especial number 2. Coming in at a beautiful Robusto, measuring 5 by 50 and sitting at a wallet-friendly $8 a stick, or about $185 for a box of 25, which brings the single price to about $7.40 a stick. Remember always to patron your local businesses, and if you can't find it at your local cigar shop, take a stroll to thegentleman'storch.com, where if they don't have it, you can always find something just as good for an equal or better price. That's thegentleman'storch.com. You see, this is one of those cigars that punches way above its price point. And if you never smoked it in the lounge during a good conversation, my friends, you're missing out. This blend is crafted by the legendary Jose Don Pepin Garcia and the My Father's Factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. Geez, that's the second cigar in a row from My Father that we talk about. And no, they're not sponsoring the show, just in case. The construction is classic Pepin craftsmanship, firm, clean triple cap, smooth seams, and that slight give when you squeeze it, just right. The wrapper is Ecuadorian Habano, the binder is Nicaraguan, and the filler is Nicaraguan long filler blend. This Ecuadorian Habano wrapper is the star here. It brings depth, aroma, and old world richness reminiscent of Cuban cigar tradition. The burning time is about 60 to 70 minutes, depending on how deep in conversation you are. Some of the reported tasting notes are white pepper and cedar on the opening, smooth transitions into roasted almond, caramel, and light cocoa. Midpoint brings earthiness and sweet spice, and the final third finishes with espresso, leather, and toasted sugar. The cigar is medium to full-bodied but extremely balanced, confident without being overwhelming. This line has consistently scored 90-plus ratings across industry reviews, known for refinement and consistency. Some of the best pairings can be aged rum, like Zacapa 23 Diplomatico, medium body bourbon like Buffalo Trace or Woodford Reserve. Also pairs well with Colombia or Nicaraguan coffee, or go classy with some wine like Spanish Rioja. So if you're heading to a lounge and want something that says refined but approachable, La Roma de Cuba Edición Especial No. 2 is the move. Great flavor, great construction, and great value. That's how you win the room without raising your voice. All right, so let's go back, way back. The image of tobacco and power stretches centuries. Spanish colonial plantations, aristocrats in velvet smoking rooms, the wealthy smoking their cheroots in private clubs. In the early 20th century, cigars became tightly linked with wealth and influence. Business dinners, boardrooms, the classic man of means lighting a Churchill after a deal. Why? Because cigars were expensive, handcrafted, imported, and not something that everyone could afford. They required time, knowledge, and access. Not like a pack of cigarettes that you could grab at any corner. By the mid-1900s, cigar lounges and humidor clubs emerged. Smoking a high-end cigar was like wearing a tailored suit. It said you made it. It wasn't just about nicotine. It was about leisure and ritual, a slow way to celebrate success. And then came the cigar boom in the 1990s. When investment-grade cigars, limited editions, and collectibles exploded. Cigar Aficionado made stars out of brands, sizes, and vitolas. The more exclusive or rare the cigar, the more it said, I've got means and I know what I'm doing. But that's not the full picture. As much as cigars have been about show and status, they've also been about craft, story, and a connection between the maker and the smoker. And now that connection is shifting. So, why it's long been a status symbol? Let's break it down. Why cigars have carried that prestige for so long? There are a few layered reasons. One could be craftsmanship and rarity. Premium cigars are handmade, often aged tobaccos, limited edition runs. The more artisan the smoke, the more it signals expertise. Then there's time. You don't just inhale a cigar. You light it, savor it, and spend 45 minutes to an hour or more with it. That leisure itself becomes a display. You have the freedom to take your time. Now we can look at costs. Historically, the perception has always been that the more expensive the cigar, the more status it carries. Rare vitolas, aged fillers, boutique brands all add to the prestige. We also have the ritual, cutting, toasting, ashing. These are deliberate acts. In a hustle culture, taking that time for a cigar is almost rebellion, telling the world, I do slow down and enjoy it. And finally, we have social signaling. In business and social circles, offering someone a premium cigar is more than just hospitality. It's symbolic. It says, you're worth my best. But times change, and so does what people want from their smoke. So what's changing? Why is the symbol evolving? Why is that status symbol starting to blur? Let's look at a few key forces reshaping cigar culture. You see, first, there's the new generation smokers. Millennials and Gen Zers are entering the cigar world. Many of them aren't coming for the status so much as the passion. For them, it's more about origin stories, terroir, the natural environment in which the cigar is produced, and connection, more than just seeking a big name box press band. Then there's also the craft and boutique boom. Boutique cigar makers are creating limited runs with incredible care, but not always with astronomical prices. These brands are telling stories, not just flashing prestige. There's also sustainability and transparency. More smokers care about where tobacco is grown, how it's farmed, and who makes the cigar. They look at ethical sourcing, fair labor, and environmental impact. These are things that are becoming part of the conversation with the new generation smokers. With the economy where it's at, affordability without sacrifice is also part of the conversation. Thanks to economies of scale, more premium quality blends are available at approachable prices. That means people don't need to buy the priciest cigar to get a truly good experience. Brands that have gone in the opposite direction have felt the effects of their decisions, and some have had to adjust and bring out some bangers at an affordable price. We also have digital communities and education with forums, Instagram, YouTube, and podcasts. Hey, like this one. People learn about cigars in a more democratic way. They know flavor notes, factories, and aging. The mystique of exclusive club is losing some power. And then we also have experience over flaunt. Many new smokers want to smoke with friends, share stories, pair with good drinks, and enjoy the moment, not necessarily show off. The ritual is less about the price tag and more about the memory, the carved time in a busy schedule, the camaraderie, your presence, and no one really cares about what you're smoking. Okay, so let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into the downside of the so-called cigar status and what this means for new cigar smokers and collectors. You are listening to the Cigar Cypher podcast, a Buenos Dias Media production.
Looking to connect with like-minded men who share your drive for success and passion for the finer things in life? Welcome to the Apex Gentlemen's Guild, a private members club for men who value ambition, camaraderie, giving back, and personal growth. For a limited time while we're fully remote, you can join the guild for free. Gain access to tons of motivational content, exclusive events, insightful discussions, and a network of high-performance individuals. Don't miss this chance to elevate your social circle. Request to join today at facebook.com/groups/Apex Gentlemen's Guild or give us a like at facebook.com/Apex Gentlemen's Guild. The Apex Gentlemen's Guild, excellence forged in unity.
We want to take a moment to shout out the Cigar Rights of America, CRA, one of the very few organizations protecting your right to light up without government overreach. And you know how we've all seen how that's become normalized. So head over to cigarrights.org to become a member today. Support the leaf, defend the culture.
This is the Modern Beat Podcast, where voice, vulnerability, and victory meet. I'm Leilani.
And I'm Michelle. We're two friends having the real conversations women actually need about healing, hustle, motherhood, love, money, and the patterns we know too well.
No pretending here. Just honest stories, expert gems, and practical tools so you can feel seen and move forward.
If you ever felt silenced, judged, or just tired of carrying it all, you're home. Pull up a chair.
New episodes are short enough for your commute, deep enough to change your week.
Hit follow on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Share this with your sisters, your group chat. Your future self will thank you.
The Modern V.
The Modern V.
Voice, vulnerability,
victory.
victory.
Gentlemen, this one's for you. Whether you're signing deals, chasing dreams, or just unwinding after a long day, your cigar should match your grind. At thegentleman'storch.com, we bring you premium cigars, boutique blends, and curated sample packs, all without the premium price. Because class isn't about the label, it's about the standard you set. From CEOs to 9-to-5ers, every man deserves that moment, that taste of excellence. So light up, level up, and let your story burn slow. Visit thegentleman'storch.com, where affordability meets class and every smoke means something. The Gentleman's Torch. Light up, level up.
Fellas, let me ask you something. When was the last time you heard a podcast that actually understands men? Not lectures us, not blames us, but pushes us to become stronger, wiser, more disciplined versions of ourselves? Welcome to Grit on the Rocks, the podcast for men who are ready to level up their mindset, their character, and their life. Here, we talk purpose, discipline, leadership, relationships, money, legacy, and the hard truths most people are too scared to say out loud. Every episode is real talk with a heartbeat, part motivation, part wisdom, part barbershop and cigar lounge conversation, and a whole lot of get your life together energy. We break things down with humor, honesty, storytelling, and biblical backbone, so you leave every episode sharper than you came in. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, tired of fake positivity, tired of being told to man up without being told how, then it's time to pull up a chair, pour something smooth, and lock in. Search Grit on the Rocks on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, and join thousands of men building discipline, purpose, and confidence one episode at a time. Grit on the Rocks, where the conversation is real and the growth is mandatory.
Hi, this is Kevin Duclaw. You're listening to the Cigar Cypher podcast.
And we are back. You are listening to the Cigar Cypher podcast, where we unpack the culture and decode the smoke. Today we're talking about why cigars are a status symbol and why that's changing. Now let's dive into the downside of the cigar as status model. But this shift isn't without friction. The old status symbol model comes with real drawbacks, especially as the culture changes. So let's talk about some of those. Elitism and entry barriers. That's one of them. When cigars are seen purely as status, beginners can feel intimidated. The price of prize sticks, limited releases, and collector's editions can shut people out. Like I said before, this thought is something that kept me away from the cigar culture until I took time to understand it better. You have speculation and bubble risk. The collectability boom has led to speculation. Some people buy cigars as investments, not to smoke them. That raises market volatility and raises prices beyond taste. I mean, to be honest, this is one I don't understand. I mean, I get the collecting, but cigars are meant to be enjoyed, not just stared at. You have smoke versus value trade-offs. Paying more doesn't always mean a more enjoyable smoke. Sometimes status cigars have hype, but don't deliver balanced flavor, especially for newer smokers. I agree with this 100%, right? I've had pricier smokes that, in my opinion, were extremely underwhelming. Then there's the overemphasis on branding. When people buy for the brand, not the leaf, quality can be secondary. That risks diluting what made cigar culture special, the craftsmanship and passion. And we can't forget about the perception of environmental and ethical costs. Large-scale, prestige-focused operations may pressure tobacco farms, workers, and resources. If status remains the only driver, sustainability can suffer. The good news? Many of these issues are being addressed by the same shift that's changing the status symbol, because culture evolves. So let's take a look at the practical implications, what this means for new smokers and collectors. So where does that leave us as cigar lovers, collectors, or newcomers? Here's a few takeaways. Entry isn't just for old money. Thanks to quality blends that have focus on being price friendly, newer smokers can access high craftsmanship without blowing their budget on ultra limited releases. Invest in flavor, not just rarity. Earlier status cigars were about the band and the pedigree. Now people are investing in cigars that simply taste good or that tell a real story. Supporting boutique and ethical brands matters. If sustainability, fair labor, and transparent sourcing means something to you, there are more options now than ever. Number 4 is mix your humidor. You don't have to fill your box with just ultra expensive speculative sticks. Include a few workhorse premiums, cigars you smoke regularly and appreciate deeply. And number 5 is community is king. Join cigar groups, forums, or local lounges. The value of a cigar now often comes from who you're smoking with, not how much you paid for it. At thecigarcypher.com, we're doing just that, establishing a community, a place where you can enjoy not only our content, but also get informed with cigar news and blog posts, while also sharing your stories that can also be shared right here on the podcast. So visit thecigarcypher.com and share some of your cigar stories so that we can share them with our audience. And with that said, I'd love you to be part of the conversation. So if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, hit that subscribe, follow button, drop us a comment. If you're in a lounge or have a humidor, right, snap a pic of your collection and tag us on Instagram and Facebook at the Cigar Cypher. Leave us a review, whether you love cigars for status, flavor, or story. Let me know why you smoke. It helps new listeners and it adds real insight. So what does the future hold? Let's look at the future perspective. Looking ahead, what might the future of cigars as status look like? Let's look at a few predictions. Some believe that we might see things like hyper-personalization. We'll see more custom lines, single farm releases, and micro-batch blends tailored to individual flavor profiles. We'll see transparency as luxury. The new prestige could be knowing exactly which farm, which sun exposure, and which barrel-aged leaf went into your smoke. Sustainability credentials. Brands with environmental stewardship, fair labor, regenerative farming could carry more weight than just limited boxes. Digital-first communities. Cigar culture will continue to grow online. Virtual shops and lounges, subscription clubs, and augmented reality tasting notes could become the norm. And value-driven collecting. Instead of speculating on rare boxes, more smokers will invest in the quality they smoke, not just what they stash. And at the heart of all this, the next generation of cigar lovers. They're not just chasing status, they're building it in their own way. One smoke, one story, one connection at a time. So that's our journey for today. From the old smoky boardrooms to bright puff of today's humidor culture. Why cigars have been a status symbol and how that symbol is being rewritten. Whether you came for the prestige or stayed for the passion, I hope you found something that resonates. A cigar isn't just a luxury item, it's a conversation, a craft, and yes, a statement. Thanks for spending this time with me on the Cigar Cypher. I'm David, reminding you, light slow, draw deep, and smoke with purpose. Until next time, stay curious, stay humble, and keep decoding that smoke. This is the Cigar Cypher podcast, a Buenos Dias media production.